Okay, so for those of you who don't know, it's our fifth pregnancy. I've got a bonus daughter who is 12, and I've got two little boys, Atticus, who is turning 5 this week, and Archer, who is 2. So it's a very busy household already. This was very much a planned pregnancy. We've always wanted a bigger family, and still
somehow it surprises me every single time. So I'm very excited to have a summer baby. We're due the end of August, or so like mid-August. I think it's like the 15th, 16th. Typically my babies have come at varying gestations, so I'm not like expecting to have like a due date baby. Atticus was a post dates baby. I think I was like 41 and a half weeks with him, and then Archer was like 38 weeks. The only like mild, yeah, I guess like I'm in and around that date. Yeah, okay. So let's just dive into the questions, because some of them are like really fun questions that I just genuinely hadn't even thought of asking or answering, and then some of them are just like totally obvious, you know. The first thing that I got from a lot of people actually was if I am showing earlier this time. I am 18 weeks filming this video, and I don't think I'm huge. I really thought that it was going to be like, you know, I feel pregnant and like straight away I'll have a little baby bump, but it really hasn't happened for me this way, and it's kind of taken me by surprise, because I really thought that I would just be like ginormous. Although, who knows, I could wake up tomorrow morning and be huge. Okay, so one of the biggest questions that I got next was, how am I feeling about us having a girl/boy? Are we going to find out the gender this time? Yeah, so we have had a lot of debate around this. We did not find out with Archer. We did find out with Atticus. It was our first baby. It felt like a nice way to prepare. I always feel like I need to explain a reason, because a lot of people, particularly in Ireland, will not find out, in my experience. And so for me, with this baby, I was very much like, I now know what it's like to find out and to not find out and have that surprise. And with Archer, it was honestly like the most wonderful feeling, literally being able to meet your baby and find out who it was that you've been like growing all along. And I kind of had a feeling it was a boy. This time round, now having 2 boys, I would love to mother a little girl. And I feel like this, up until like last week maybe, we were like, this is totally girl energy. We 100% are having a little girl. And then I think maybe I think something happened. I can't even remember what. And all of a sudden I was like, oh wait, this feels like a boy now. We're having a boy. And so my intuition is not super clear on this. And it hasn't been for either of the boys. Like I was never like, 100% this is what we're having. And I suppose because, I mean, people don't talk about this openly often enough, but like gender or sex disappointment, or just like shock is very real. And I have always inherently had this feeling of like, much as I would love to mother a girl, maybe there's some part of me that's not able to carry girls, or isn't going to be able to mother a girl, even though, you know, Jess has been in my life since she was a baby. It's very different, you know. She has another mumma. And so I suppose this time round, long story short, long answer, we have thought very carefully about whether or not we would decide, or we would find out, and we've decided yes, we will. Will we do a cute gender/sex reveal? I don't know, because the reality is, I think if I found out we were having a third boy, I would probably need to have like a good cry. Not because I wouldn't absolutely adore that little boy, but I think because I suppose it would be a very different reaction if I were to have a girl. Does that make sense? I don't want this baby to think that they're not loved if it's a boy. Of course they will be incredibly loved. And actually it's like a whole new level of excitement to be a mama of multiple boys. I think that's like boys love you a whole different way. Okay, next question is any pregnancy bra recommendations, which I thought was a really practical but also fun question, because most recently I actually this weekend finished my Body Ready method training. So now as a Body Ready method pro, I can start off offering advice and suggestions. And one of the things that we talk about is, you know, both alignment, creating space and balance in our body, in our bodies, in our pregnant bodies. And one of the things that we talk about when we talk about the capacity to have like a full 3D breath means that we have to have space in our rib cage for it to expand. And if we have a very tight band when we don't have capacity for that deep breath, and you know, we're getting, our chests are growing, we're getting heavier chests as our milk comes in, and then they go back down again once that sort of regulates out a little bit. It's really important that we have bras that are, and clothes that are comfortable and have the capacity for that growth. I'm like, what bra am I wearing? I'm not wearing my favorite bra. My favorite bra is the most beautiful, like, bamboo soft material. It's more like a bralette, would I say, but I have like, I would say like D's now after having babies, and so I don't have like a little A cup anymore, but these are just beautifully supportive enough for me. But they're by like a bamboo company, and I will leave them linked down below, but they are one of my favorites, and I will wear them postpartum too. I'll just whip a boob out, and that has been really, really comfortable for me. They also do knickers and leggings, I believe, but I have not invested in those. Okay, next question is, where are we planning to have this baby? So for us this time, we are planning another home birth. We have planned to have all our babies at home. For me, it's just what's right for me. It's where I feel safest, and it's where I feel most comfortable. I labored in water with Atticus and birthed on land. I labored on land with Archer and birthed in water. And I suppose this time I'm like very much open to birthing on land again, but I loved laboring in water. That was really, really amazing and felt so good. So I guess like I want to like open myself up to that option. Let me see what other questions I got. There's so many. It's hard to pick out the ones that are like, you know, pregnancy related. Okay, let's dive in here. Where's this little baby gonna sleep? So at the moment, I will turn you sideways, but it is such a mess in this room. I'm very real on here in saying that I prioritize being with my kids over having a tidy house. I'm not gonna have that like Instagram worthy cute home. Although I think our home is pretty cute. It's not clean, or it's not tidy, I should say. It's clean, it's not tidy. It's safe. And so I would turn you sideways to show you that, but I don't want to show you my mess. We all sleep in one massive, like super king family-sized bed at the moment. So I will typically sleep with Atticus behind me and whichever smaller baby, so Archer in this case, snuggled in front. When the baby comes, I plan on just having both boys behind me and the smaller baby in front of me. If you aren't already following Co-Sleepy Baby, I think it is, I'll share it down below. They have gorgeous visuals. I think it's Isadora runs the page, and she's got all sorts of wonderful visuals for how to make your co-sleeping space safe, practical tips, all sorts of wonderful visuals and supports. So definitely worthwhile having a look at that if you haven't already. But we've always co-slept with our babies from birth, so it's never something that is like a question in my mind. Hilariously, when I was pregnant with Atticus, I was very much like, no, like he's gonna sleep in his cot, we're gonna have our own space, we're gonna be really clear about like our boundaries for our relationship. This baby was never gonna leave my side, so he literally hasn't left, and now he's 5, and he has no interest in leaving either. You know, we're going over to visit a friend of mine. My best friend is finishing her arts degree in London, and we're going over to visit her and just like support her in the summertime and early summer, and I was looking up like where we're gonna stay, and I was sitting down with the boys to like look at it and make it like let's talk about what's happening, make it real. And Atticus was like, oh, that's so exciting, this place has bunk beds. And I was like, oh, amazing, let's maybe do that. And he was like, how are we all gonna fit in one bed? He was just like, that's not gonna work. So that was quite funny. I've got loads of questions that is just so kind and wondering like, how has this pregnancy been and how am I feeling? So this pregnancy has been probably the hardest of all of my pregnancies, in that I am homeschooling the boys, I am running my own business. I'm also the sole earner in our family at the moment, well, for the foreseeable few years, because Pete is in college, so we're supporting him in doing that. So it's a lot. It hasn't ever been that big of a load before. Previously, Pete had been working, or I might have had help from him for the business. And so it's been the sickest that I've been, but as soon as I reached like 13 weeks, it almost like just lifted straight away. But I've been really careful and mindful to like do things that are going to support myself. So this time around, I'm really prepping for postpartum. If you haven't seen my entire video on how we are prepping this time, I've got like a 2-part series on that. And I think you should really, really watch it because it's really good. Or at least if it comes out. It's got a couple of really like interesting new ideas that you may not have already thought about for how you plan your postpartum period. So I'm taking that very seriously. And then in pregnancy, I'm also taking my care really seriously. So I am not, I'm really prioritizing myself, but also us as a family unit. We won't be doing like many big trips. We prioritize, one outing a day. I'm being really gentle with myself in terms of, the work that I get done, the amount of work that I get done. I'm offsetting a lot of that where I can. What else am I doing? I'm going to bed really early. I've cut out all caffeine. I've started going back to yoga. I'm really moving my body in a way that feels good, feeding my body really well. So I'm starting to feel good now, but it totally depends on the week. Equally, I will have, my mental health has not been super, just quite anxious this time around. And I think that's just because as our family gets bigger, I'm really feeling the weight of that responsibility more and more. I guess as we see them growing into little humans. And lots of big decisions to be made around our home. We now have to get a bigger car, and it feels like quite a grown-up decision. So yeah, it depends on the mood, on the day, how my mood is going, and very definitely how sleep is going and that kind of thing. Do my boys, are they still nursing? Okay, here is the deal. Yes and no. My milk dried up, I would say, in and around week 7, 8, and since then Atticus will nurse, latch on just before bed. This is all he was doing anyway, and every single time he'll pop off almost immediately and just tell me that there's still no milk there. So he's almost waiting for the milk to come back in, and we'll just snuggle instead. But he hasn't officially stopped, although this week he's turning 5 and he's started mentioning, but will the milk be back before I'm 5? Because I think that he's thinking about stopping himself. We haven't been talking about it hugely openly because I don't want to put pressure on him. I'm very much just going to allow him to wean when he is ready. Archer, on the other hand, has been feeding as much, if not more, than he was before, as if nothing has ever happened. So that is hilarious. He seems completely unfazed by the fact that there is no milk there. If you are actually a breastfeeding mama and you are planning on getting pregnant, or you are planning on tandem feeding, or you're already pregnant and you're just not sure where to go about that, I have just released dates for my breastfeeding through pregnancy and beyond course, so I will leave the links for that down below as well. But yeah, it's going to be a really helpful one, and hopefully a community that you can access for support as well. Okay, there's a couple of questions on what sort of supplements that I'm taking this pregnancy. I do have an entire other video on that, but essentially folate for neural tube development. I have been taking choline for infant brain development, also a nice omega complex and lots of good quality fatty acids. And yeah, I've been drinking an adrenal cocktail with sort of trace minerals in it, so magnesium, potassium, sodium, at least once, if not twice a day, because that's one of the things we get really depleted by when we are stressed. And pregnancy is a stressor on our body. Never mind anything else. I got a couple of questions as well, and I almost always do, on how to get through the early days of pregnancy after loss. And pregnancy after loss is no joke. My heart really goes out to you, because I feel like people don't talk about it, but it's not all like rainbows and sunshine, and everything isn't always, just floaty and lovely. That sparkle and the naivety that comes with a successful first pregnancy very much gets lost when you have an unsuccessful pregnancy / your baby came too soon. So for me, one of the biggest things was I could create affirmations around where I am in my pregnancy today. For instance, something like, today I am pregnant. Today my baby is safe inside my body, or right now my baby is safe inside my body. I love this baby every second that they are with me. And just, I suppose, reminding myself in particular of that I will never regret loving this little one. And so I find almost that I connect with my babies. I have connected with my babies sooner and earlier with each subsequent pregnancy after loss. Doing things that help you feel safe in your body. So if that is moving your body gently, if that is, acupuncture, if that is body work, if that's some gentle yoga, if it's some nice warm baths, if it's lighting candles for some hope and some light, if it's writing in your diary. I write a diary for each of our kids, and I will continue to write in it until they themselves have babies, I'm imagining. But I have really been leaning into writing a lot this time to this baby, and really pouring my heart out, because I feel like that is a safe place to be. And maybe they will never read it, but it's for me to be able to talk about how much I love them and how worried I am that I could lose them. It's a scary place to be in, to no longer trust your body to carry a baby, and there are lots of ways that we can support our body and understand why, if you are having multiple losses, it's nice to have those answers, but sometimes we don't always find them. So it's not like an easy fix, So that would be my advice to that mama. Okay. Next one is, do you think your family is complete, or would you like more babies? I get this question a lot, and I think that it is hilarious that somebody could answer this as a straight off question. It is so nuanced. For us, we've always wanted a larger family. We always had said 4 or 6. And so with the addition of our our lost babies, we would already be there in terms of pregnancies. And currently, this doesn't feel like my last baby. So I suppose the way that we approach it is around the year mark, or whenever my cycles return. It's been between 18 months and 1 year for both the boys. We sit down and we have a chat. How are we doing? How are we feeling? Are we at capacity? How is our support levels looking? How are we feeling in terms of our division of time and love? And do we feel like we could support another little one in raising them the way we want to raise them? So we are very much attachment parenting, positive parenting, gentle parenting. We also homeschool our kids, so we're with them an awful lot. And I think that has to factor into it. How is your sense of community? How is your family support? And for me, that changes with every baby. So for instance, with my first baby, I had almost zero community. I did not have that. And this time round, and particularly after Archer, I was I could have 10 kids, because I'm not doing it on my own. And remember, we weren't meant to do it on our own as well. So important. I do have an entire other video where we talk about... I was going to get Pete to join in on that video, but he actually couldn't, because I had no one to mind the babies. So he was downstairs with the kids. And I talked about how to know when you're ready for another baby, and whether or not you should have another kid, and some of the questions that we ask ourselves
when it comes to that point of us considering another baby. Okay, I feel like I'm answering so many of these questions now, which is so great. I think that might be it, though. What are we planning on doing for feeding this baby? I plan on breastfeeding this baby. I have no idea how it's going to look tri-andem feeding, but I will keep you posted and let you know. I tend to give more like updated information on Instagram, so join the community over there. Okay, that's the main ones, and there's a couple of like really sweet questions that are just like wishing congratulations and things like that. They are the big questions. I hope that you found this fun and helpful. 18 weeks pregnant now. It feels like it's flying by, and probably the next update we'll know what we're having, which is both wonderful and terrifying. Thank you so much for sitting and joining me for this cup of tea and this chat, and I'll see you in the next one.